welcome everybody to another episode of Bosses in Action with Follow Up Boss. Today we have Cynthia Castillo, right? With CRM Marketing Strategist with Mango Business Consulting. And today we're going to talk about the power of personal branding. And, just to kind of kick things off, what personal branding is. It's going to be kind of involving a few different, unique qualities and values that set you apart in both your professional and personal life. And we're really excited to have Cynthia here to kind of talk about, what makes a brand come to life. And so I'm just going to kick it off over here to Cynthia real quick. Just introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll get started.
Sure. My name is Cynthia Castillo. I'm here from Mango Business Consulting. I'm really excited to share about the power of personal branding just because you can stand out. And I'm excited to share, why you should stand out, how you can stand out, and just letting people connect with you a little bit more. And my background is in lending and real estate. I've been doing marketing for a long time in both industries. And so I've seen a lot of success by really harnessing who you are and amplifying that so that you can attract more business. So,
Excellent. Personal branding to our team, really starts off with leading with kindness and being authentic and genuine and really true to who you are. What does it kind of look like for you guys over there at Mango Consulting as far as what that personal brand really stands for?
yeah, so a lot of times I work with realtors and I have this big discussion on what do you want to share with your audience? Because a lot of times people have an idea of who you might be, but they don't really know who you are until you tell them more about yourself. Kind of like a conversation when you first meet someone, you might have an instant thought of what they're like or what they might like to do, but you don't know until you start having that conversation. And so something I like to work with my clients on is starting that conversation. So, what are we going to highlight about what you do? What do you do in your life? I find a lot of agents give back to the community. A lot of them have other interests, like maybe they go hiking, or maybe they're into fitness, or maybe they like motivation. And all of those things become part of who you are and are things that you can really talk about and connect with people with. So,
Excellent. And for those that are in listening in on the webinar, I'm curious, put in the chat, what does personal branding mean to you within one or two words? I would love to kind of hear what everybody else is kind of thinking as well. One thing that we kind of think about as my dog is barking here, we want to make sure that we have a consistent image for sure. And, making sure we have consistent messaging across all platforms. And it's why it's so important to have, as Tony just said, that identity and what that's
mhm.
going to look like. And so I'm curious, Cynthia, as people are putting some of these in, we have instant recognition, you know, who I am and knowing a little bit about me. I think that's great. But why is this so crucial in today's digital landscape?
Yeah, I definitely think that there are thousands and thousands of agents in each area and in each marketplace. And the only way that you're able to stand out is by being yourself and sharing who you are and why you're different. Because everyone can say the same thing. Oh, I can sell a house. I can help you buy a house. But it's not just that. And real estate is so much more than just buying and selling property. I see so many people going above and beyond for their clients and just being wonderful people. And I think more people can become attracted to you when you share those parts of yourself and you share what you do in the community. You share how you helped your clients. You share just really your life. And I think it's about storytelling, you know?
I love that. And it's about, to play off of that, you're building that trust and credibility. And so as someone's getting started out, whether a new agent or whether, they've been an agent in the business for 20 years, maybe they have not established that brand yet. What are those key steps that they should take to start building out a personal brand?
Yeah, so personal branding, I think, has two sides of it. One is the graphic side. So it might be colors, images, fonts, and things of that nature, or like a vibe, I guess you could say. And then the other side is values, really writing down what do you care about? What do you want your business to look like? Taking your business seriously And also writing down all the ways that you can give pretty much, I think, is a great way to start. And once you have that list of the ways that you're giving and the ways that you're connecting with others, then you can boil it down to a value proposition. And having that inside your buyer presentation or your listing presentation is also going to really help you stand out from the crowd as well. So,
Excellent. Susan put in the chat here, authenticity. She
mm,
mentions my style is not going to necessarily fit everyone, but that's okay. And, personally, I think that is okay because you're not going to be able to work with everyone and you're not going to want to work with everyone. But
mhm.
I feel like having that brand of who you are is going to bring in the clients that, feel that same way. Is
Yeah,
that kind of how you think as well?
100%. And I think it can go both ways. One, you can think about, who do I want to attract into my life? Who do I want to get the attention of? And how can I connect with them? That's one side. And then on the other side, what am I doing and how can people fit in with what I'm already doing? So I've talked with many agents, and some of them have different goals than others. And I think knowing your goals is really important for the direction of what you're going to be talking about. For example, I do have many agents who are in the luxury market, and that would be a certain type of verbiage, a certain type of like professionalism that they expect to have, I see in the luxury market. But then on the other side, there are some agents who are like, I do real estate part time. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to help some people. I'm helping some families in my area that's close by, and that's what they're comfortable with. That's what their goals are at this time. And I think every piece of real estate is important, and knowing what you're trying to do will just help attract the right people.
Exactly, and your personal brand is who you are. I mean, that's where it starts out with. And so then whatever, style you end up going with, whatever voice you end up going with, think about who you are and how that's going to translate to everybody else. And I think that's a great way to kind of get started here. I'm kind of curious as far as the digital platforms go. Which ones do you think are the most effective for building and then promoting that personal brand?
I have seen success in every which way and not just digitally. So I've seen amazing success with just mailers and farms. But then when you pair that with things like a CRM and, having a website, having your IDX connected with your MLS and being able to, promote listings more easily to people instead of just using paper, I think it just multiplies and expands really quickly. But definitely, if you're going to be on social media, you should pick one, stick with it, and then you can expand. I always like to start slow with my clients too. Instead of getting overwhelmed and saying, be on everything all the time, choose one that you're going to direct everyone to. And then you can add to the other ones later, unless you have a team behind you that's able to help you with that. Just because real estate is a business on its own, and then marketing is a whole other piece to it. So definitely my advice is stick to one and then let that grow. But it doesn't matter which one it is, as long as you're consistent.
Excellent. And one thing you mentioned in there was bringing in the CRM. So by utilizing Follow Up Boss, this is a great way for you to create that personality and voice that's going to translate to all of your clients. This could go down even to the website you have connected with Follow Up Boss. Do you have that brand style and recognition coming across the website? Is this voice the same on the site as it is through the communication you're tailoring to them? It's just making sure that we're starting with that. So, if we kind of walk a little bit step by step as far as what it looks like to build the brand, obviously we're going to start kind of with that assessment, the self-assessment. What are your strengths? What are your values? What are your passions? What makes you unique? Um, what do you guys start with when you start to work with clients as far as what are those first couple steps that you guys take?
Yeah, so first we start with a marketing strategy evaluation. So I say, all right, where are your clients coming from right now? And or if they haven't really started their business very much, where do you plan on getting clients from? Is it going to be open houses? Are you doing a lot of YouTube videos? Are you working on your website? What do you already have? And so after we assess what they already have, maybe it's mailers, maybe they have community events, It all depends on what they're doing. And then from there, we go, okay, is everything uniform? Do we have our colors chosen? Do we have our fonts chosen? Do we have your ideal client chosen? And we go through that process of, who do you want to work with? What areas do you want to work with? What's close by? What value do you provide? Maybe you work with veterans, and so you're able to, help the veteran community. Or maybe you love working with first-time home buyers, and you're always doing first-time home buyer seminars. So then, we're able to tailor everything to what they're already doing or what they aspire to do. And then from there, then we talk about the value proposition. What makes you different? And sometimes they say, I don't know. Sometimes they say, oh, well, I get them talking, and eventually it comes out that it's their experience. It can be life experience. I had one agent that I was talking with that before becoming an agent, she was a relocation specialist. And I'm like, well, that goes hand in hand perfectly. She really cared about where the people were going to and making sure the lifestyle fit. And that's a perfect example of how you're providing value, how you're giving back, but also you're able to put that in your value proposition to say, hey, I care about where you're living. I care that your lifestyle is going to match. And that was something that she added. So it's all about just teasing it out and having that conversation of, well, what are you really doing right now? And being able to see what they're doing. Because sometimes when you're stuck in the day-to-day grind, you don't even realize what you're doing. You're just on autopilot, just working day to day. But when you sit down and you step back and you write down, what am I really doing? How do I provide value? How am I connecting with others? Then you can really get that value proposition out. And then amplifying that across the entire brand is the next step.
Oh, I love that because, with that value proposition that you're mentioning, this is where you guys want to make sure that you guys are clearly communicating what you offer. And then
Mhm.
how can you, or how you can truly benefit others and be able to give back and stuff like that. Because you want to make sure that, who you are and what you're doing, what you offer to the, to your clients, make sure that that's visible to the target audience as well that is coming in. And so, as we continue to look at those, once we have that brand established, we've started it out, how do we maintain that? Are there specific things that we need to continue to do or watch out for as, the years go to pass? Because we might be able to start out really strong, but how do we continue to keep that going?
Consistency is really huge, and leveraging technology, I think, is the key to that because nobody feels like doing something every day. And sometimes you get sick, sometimes you take a vacation, sometimes you're really busy with work anyway. And maintaining your personal brand is something that is an actionable step that you have to do every single day. And so I think batch content is really important. So cutting out a piece of your time in your week or your month and saying, on my calendar, this is content day, and either doing videos or writing your posts or connecting with your marketing person or, writing out those emails in a drip campaign that's going to go through your CRM. You really need to have that set so that nobody will forget about you and it's on autopilot. You don't want to have to worry every day, oh my gosh, what am I going to send out today? What am I going to post today? That's just really exhausting and not really sustainable. Kind of like a New Year's resolution. You go, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it every day. And then by the third month, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do it every day. And then you forget. And then a week goes by and you go, oh, I'm gonna do it. And then you feel guilty. And then you don't do it for another month. And then like by then it's summer. And then you go, what happened? So having the systems in place are really important just to help you with your life and to make sure that you got it, and for that peace of mind too.
Exactly. I'm curious in the audience, are you guys setting up, and you guys can put yes or no. Are you guys setting up a specific day on your calendar that is devoted to building out content? Just put yes or put no in the chat. Thumbs up, maybe thumbs down. Would be curious to hear what you guys are saying. We got a no for right now. And, as these are coming in and thinking about this, for the batch content days, what are you suggesting that realtors should be using to be able to do that when they do build those? Are you guys using any special tools or softwares for that?
Yeah, well, right now I don't offer social media management. I only do CRM builds and maintenance. And so that's more email marketing, but I do advise for marketing strategy. And um, it really depends on the agent and what their goals are because some agents say, you know what, posting once a week is just all I can handle right now. And I'm like, well, that's really great. That's starting somewhere. I think starting where you're at and keeping that promise to yourself is more important than meeting an X amount of what I have to do. But if you want to have a robust strategy, I mean, multiple times a day would be wonderful, but that's not the reality for some people. So it just depends on what their motivation is, I think, at the end of the day.
Excellent. So one thing that I'm thinking about when you are posting, and whether it be you or any of the realtors on here, is there anything that, for let's think about like if they are, showing to post a lot of content and they need to just get some stuff out there. What are some of those minimal things that they need to have, whether it be on the graphic or in the post copy, that really keeps that personal brand going, even if it's kind of at the minimal?
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but storytelling is really, really important. And an easy way to do this that I recommend is write down, just sit down for like 30 minutes and maybe even 10 minutes and write down all the questions that you commonly get all the time. And then write the answers for those questions in like 1 minute or 3 minute or 5 minute chunks so that if you're going to make a video, you can make a long video about it. If you need a short video, you can make a short video about it or a quick like text-based content. Um, and then you have endless content because people are asking you questions all day, every day if you're working. So if you're talking to people on the phone or you're meeting people in person, things are going to come up. Or even if you're masterminding like this, things are going to come up and you can write about it and then just share it. And that's the one half of content that can be really, really easy and like low hanging fruit to sound like an expert, to share your knowledge and to stay in front of people. And then on the other side, you can share about yourself. And ways you can do this is by saying what has happened in a transaction or how you were able to save the day, highlighting reviews. If you have past clients that were happy with you, you can say, hey, I was able to do XYZ, but don't just hear it from me. Here's what my client is saying. And then you have social proof. People love to see what other people are saying about people. So that's really great too. And then also talking to your niche. So in the examples that I mentioned earlier, like veterans or first-time homebuyers or maybe downsizers, there are certain things that they're looking for. And as the expert, you know what they are. And if you're not an expert, you can go to Google and you can become an expert. And being able to speak on those topics with confidence and with just like answering questions or saying, hey, did you know? That's really, really helpful for your audience too.
Excellent. And to expand on that for what we're doing with Tristan Ahumada's team is we are taking some of those questions that you're writing down, taking those niches that you have that you work with, and then we are taking that and building into additional content just from one post, to now having a blog article, to now having content for the newsletter. Then we
Exactly.
have the ability to then send out, via emails from Follow Up Boss, to be able to send out these informations. Maybe it's tip of the day. Maybe it's your weekly roundup. Maybe we want to say, what's going on in the space for this month. And then so we then have, a blog post. We have a social media post. Now we have the ability to have something to provide of value to our clients within Follow Up Boss to be able to text it out. And so this is where you could then start to create these conversations that aren't, are you ready to buy? What
Mhm.
homes do you want? You have the opportunity to now bring them back to the site to then go look at other homes without having to say that. And so by having this one post of, content, now you, as Cynthia mentioned, have 10 different questions to work with, have 10 different blog posts to work with, have 10 different emails, 10 different texts you can send out. And so it continues to multiply beyond that. And so
Yeah.
that's where all that personal branding comes together, because you're tying it all together. You're bringing them back all into your ecosystem without ever having the chance of losing them and still being able to re-engage and provide value. And so that's how
Yeah.
we're doing the team.
We do that except the opposite. We start with the CRM and with the email content, and then we turn it into everything else. So same thing, but just opposite. But that just goes to show marketing strategy just goes across the board. That's why you have to decide, what is your brand going to sound like? What do you care about? What do you want to share with other people? Because it's going to be consistent everywhere.
Exactly. And so as you guys start to do this, then you're going to start to be able to build that consistent, valuable content to be able to pushing out. And so now I'm going to shift it just a little bit. I want to think about what are kind of the challenges that real estate agents have to overcome when it comes to building the personal brand, and then how did they do that?
I think confidence is one of the biggest keys to it, because maybe they feel unsure. Feeling unsure and not deciding on what you're going to write about or what you want to share can be really hard. And it's hard to talk about yourself too if you haven't before. I have a lot of amazing agents who are just uncomfortable with that. They think, I'm trying to be humble, I don't want to like to my own horn kind of a thing. But I tell them, if you don't share what you're already doing and how you're helping other people, they won't know. And then the person who is in your market that is sharing is going to get the business. So you have to just share what you're doing, and that's okay. And then when they see that it comes from a good place, and really you're just sharing what you're actually doing with your life, then it becomes a lot easier. And you're just like, well, it's okay to share that piece of myself. I think the hardest thing is the first one, and after the first one, then it gets a little easier. So just deciding, I think, just do it. Don't overthink it.
I
It
think
doesn't have
that's
to be perfect, you know?
and that even goes into people that are worried about getting on video, just do
Yeah.
it. So,
Just do it and
as long as
practice.
you guys
Start small. Start small. Before I became a business owner, I would never get on video. I would not want a recording done of myself. I'm like, there's no way. I'm comfortable in the background. But then I realized, well, I'm the owner. I better do something because it's just me or me. And then I just started with just 30 minutes. Not 30, 30 seconds, a 30-second video. I'm like, okay, if I can do a 30-second video, I can do 1 minute. And then I said, okay, if I can do 1 minute, I can do a minute and a half. Okay, I can do 3 minutes. And then now I can do an hour and it's fine. So it's just baby steps. Just do something and then let it grow.
I like that. I'd play off with some of those questions that you were saying to write down. You can easily, you guys don't even have to post these videos that you're recording. It's more about, just getting out there and doing it.
Mhm.
Maybe you want to share it with someone in your team just so they can be like, give me some feedback here. But a very simple way to just kind of get out there is, ask the question that you wrote down and then give them the answer. And
Yeah.
so, or, you can have some type of post that posts the question in like a copy graphic, and then you just answer the question. And it's so
Mm,
simple as far as just being able to create that brand and that voice and that personality that you have, and then just carry that throughout each of the other videos or graphics or other content that you end up putting out there.
mhm, mhm.
So, um, I'm curious here now, based off of people that you've worked with, what are some of the success stories that someone that didn't even have a brand to now has been able to build out a bunch of different things with the help of you guys?
Yeah, well, I find that when you first get started and like people come to me at different points, right? So maybe one person already has, a couple of VAs doing a whole bunch of social media posts, and but they're missing the CRM component. I help a lot of times with that scenario, where they're just missing that automation or that, centralization of getting all their leads. Because at the end of the day, your database really matters, and it's worth monetary value. Like, people can sell their databases if you sell your business. And I think people undervalue that. But just because you have social media followers, like, what if Facebook is down for a day? Then what are you going to do? So it's good to have the contact information of the people that you're speaking to every day that are interested. And so I help with that process with funnels, and making sure that they're able to get into the CRM to begin with. And then we've seen really high percentages of increase in their business, from getting an extra 50K in commission to 33% increase just by having these systems in place. And it's been huge. And also, you have peace of mind as well. And I think peace of mind and confidence are two things that I bring to the table quite often as well. Because sometimes the CRM might feel like a blank sheet of paper, kind of like a Word document. You have a bunch of buttons at the top and you can do a lot of things with it. But if you're not really sure what you're going to do with it, you're just like, okay, well, but now what? I think a lot of times when I start working with someone, it feels like that. They're like, well, or maybe it feels really scrambled, kind of like a messy desktop where you just have files everywhere and you don't really know where to put them, but they're important and you can't delete them. I also work with that scenario too, where, how do we get organized? we get that set so that you have a clear plan for what you're doing with your business and the clients that are going into your system. So huge success. It's been really fun too. I love helping my agents know what kind of content they want to share or improve on what they're already doing. Because sometimes they might be doing baby steps in one area and they want to grow it. For example, finally being able to post on Instagram or Facebook after only doing like one post a year kind of a thing, and then starting to get more consistent. That's really huge too. So it's really a variety of things that people come to me with, but it's been really great across the board though.
Excellent. And so, we do have a question here from Karen.
Sure.
She's a commercial real estate broker and author. What
Cool.
suggestions do you have for building my brand?
That's a big question. Have a call with me. Who are you?
Let's
I
get
think knowing who
started.
you are is really helpful. Yeah, let's get started. No, knowing who you are is really important. Knowing what your company is about is important too. I've also helped teams brand themselves, and I think if you have more people involved, it's good to know. Okay, as a team collectively, what do we care about? A lot of time, it's basic values like we value honesty, we value negotiating on your behalf, but then there's also team culture. Or like I worked with a small brokerage and they had a whole vibe together and they wanted to highlight the local businesses that they cared about, and it was very local centric, and that's really cool too. So as with commercial, I mean, it is a little bit different than residential, of course, but I would start with what do you care about? What does your business care about? And how are you providing solutions? So, what solutions do you give? And then from there, you can expand. I think that's my best answer without having a one on one conversation.
I think that was great. One thing that we didn't necessarily touch on was so we build the brand, we build all this. It's out there, it's live,
Mhm.
but making sure that we continue to engage with that audience. So making sure that we are responding to their comments, participating in the discussions that are being had, making sure that
Yeah.
you continue to network with others in the industry, and just making sure that you continue to retain what you have and continue to build upon it, I think is so important.
Sure. And to help with that, honestly, time blocking to me is key to everything. Time blocking and turning off your notifications for the content, and then time blocking to respond, and just having it as a habit as part of your life. Just okay, every morning after I do XYZ, I take an hour to be in the local groups or to, connect with the people on Instagram or wherever your social presence is to reply to the comments, unless you delegate that. But I really prefer it if the person does it because it means so much more, I think, unless you have pre-scripted like common answers that you need to give. Um, Having it authentically you, I think, is really important, and people can tell. And also people can tell um if it's just scripted, so changing it up a little bit, changing words here and there, not just copy paste, is really nice. But having it part of your schedule, super super important.
Well said. Last question here from Derek.
Sure.
Kind of related to that. Do you use a daily to-do list or something like that?
So sometimes my clients will say, okay, what do I need to do? And we will create task lists for, everything inside the CRM. But then when it comes to social media and, maintaining a personal brand outside of the CRM, um, having a to do list would be good too, and a checklist to make sure that you check off all the things that you need to do. But I also find that once you do it enough, it becomes habit. And once it becomes habit, then it's like at maximum potential, I think.
I love
So
that. If
short
there's
answer,
any
yes.
takeaway, yeah, I would say if there's any takeaway here, it's definitely planning these things out. And so
Yeah.
it's not, it's, you can establish a brand, but if you don't do anything with it, what's going to happen? And so I would say, if you're not using time blocking to create the content, definitely do that. And if you're not doing time blocking to respond to any potential people that have engaged with you, definitely start to do that. And so,
And also reaching out to your community too. That's a huge, huge way that you can reach more people and just provide more value. And that's underrated, I think, is like business connections too. So
excellent. So as we wrap this up, Cynthia, would love for you to put in your email or your website into the chat for anybody
sure.
that wants to reach out to you or get a hold of you, definitely do that here. If anybody has any other questions, please drop them into the chat really quick and we can try to get those answered. Otherwise, we can definitely have Cynthia follow up with you guys as well. Um, yeah, Kath is looking for that website because definitely people are going to want to chat to you about this a little bit further as well. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
doing that right now, and so she'll drop that in there. But I definitely wanted to say thank you for joining us as well for this. I think this is great, great. She just dropped in the link the brand. I think we have a lot of great takeaways here. And for anybody that is watching right now, yes, this is recorded. It will be available on Follow Up Boss's YouTube channel, and most likely posted into the Follow Up Boss Success community as well. So definitely feel free to go back and rewatch this. Cynthia, any last words you want to share with everybody?
No, except that systems are really key. If you don't have a system and you're looking for one, really important, and it can really help change your life, save you time. And systems can start small. Don't get overwhelmed. Start with one piece that you want help with or that you feel like could go faster, and then work from there. Start small, and you got this, you know?
Excellent. Well, I appreciate your time, Cynthia. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights on building a personal brand. Thank you, everybody else that has attended. And, would love to have you back on at some point and be able to expand on this further.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Cynthia.